may shoot you up. I'm gonna get some more information from her, find out exactly what she wants. Then I'll make it your mind if you don't mind.
You watch my face. I get checks all the time.
April 12th is our regular session meeting. It is 3:34. Could we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Hopkins.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Young.
Here.
Commissioner Burrell. Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Gage Watts. Commissioner Talaferro.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Atkins.
Here.
Commissioner Chavez.
Here, sir.
Commissioner Lazarus.
Here.
And Commissioner Epperson.
Here.
All right.
All right, you have 7 of 12 members present, and that is a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Chavez, would you please lead us in the invocation, and Commissioner Epperson, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? All stand, please.
All heads bowed. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this glorious day. Thank you for the people gathered here around this horseshoe. Please watch over our colleagues as they travel and do the work of the parish, and guide us, lead us, and direct us as we do the work of the parish here today. In your Son's name, Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
Let's all turn, face the flag. I'd like to ask all military and veterans render the standard hand to brow salute. All others, right hand across your heart. And as we recite the pledge, let's remember our POWs and MIAs. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Chavez. Thank you, Commissioner Epperson. Mr. Clerk, do we have any agenda additions?
I'm not aware of any today. There was a mention of something, but I don't believe so.
Okay. And I have no citizens' comments cards. Have any come up?
Not received any.
Is there anyone in
over
the
here?
Is there anyone in the audience who desires to make a citizen's comment? If so, please notify the clerk.
Seeing none, there are slips if somebody would like to fill out a form to make a citizen's comment in the foyer, and they can be returned in this box here to my left. So if anyone does want to make one, there will be another opportunity at the end of the meeting. And comments are limited to 3 minutes. Would you like to move along to the next
Yes,
one?
please.
Okay, that brings us to visitors. We have no scheduled visitors today, so we'll move forward to adopting regular session minutes, where you should have the minutes from your April 7th meeting attached.
Move for adoption.
We have a motion from Commissioner Epperson, a second from Commissioner Hopkins to adopt the regular session minutes. Could we have a vote, please, Mr. Clerk?
All right, and that motion carries with 7 in support, none in opposition, and 5 absent. That brings us to the next item, special resolutions, where you have 4 items today. The first item is a special resolution of recognition and appreciation for Robert J. Wright.
Commissioner Chavez, how do you want to handle that?
Are there any of these people here to receive these? If not, I would like to make a motion to global and adopt all 4.
That'll be fine, unless I don't see anyone that is related to these 4 resolutions, so that would be it.
That'll be my motion then, President.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Chavez to englobo and adopt all 4 special resolutions. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Commissioner Epperson. All right.
No, Talaferro, I want to speak.
Talaferro, okay, Commissioner Talaferro, and did you have a question, Commissioner Epperson?
Yeah, I wanted to make an exception that the special resolution for Coach Mac Jones, the Huntington coach, 4A Coach of the Year, be put off until the first meeting in May.
All right, we'd like to have item 8-4 regarding Coach Mac Jones delayed till the first regular session in May.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we will vote on the resolution in globo 3 of the 4 with Coach Jones's resolution being delayed to the first session in May.
Which is May 5th. So for the record, that would be postponing that item until the May 5th agenda.
Okay. Could we vote, please, Mr. Clerk?
And that motion carries with 7 in support, none in opposition, and 5 absent. That brings us to communiques and committee reports, where you also have administrative response to information requests from commissioners. You did receive the March financials during your work session, but they weren't attached to the agenda that day, so you'll find them attached today to this agenda. And I don't know if you had any other items.
Mr. Clerk, isn't there usually an administrative report in this section, in section 9 as well?
We received the administrative report during the work session.
Okay.
Sometimes we include a copy of it, but it's
Okay.
the same one that's copied from the work session.
Okay, so we're on communiques and committee reports. If anyone's interested in speaking, please get on the board. Commissioner Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a question for Ms. Bryant. A constituent asked me about the status of our study into tornado warning sirens. He told me that he found out that $200,000 had been allocated for a study relating to that, and wondered what the status of it was. Has there been an RFP put out, or any information you could give?
So that is correct that we did appropriate $200,000 for a study, but we have not proceeded yet with the RFP or issuing the RFP in relation to the study. That is on our list of things to decide if we're going to proceed with the study. But yes, there are funds in the 2022 budget for a study.
Okay. A second question is that a whole lot for a study? Could we get a study for maybe $20,000 and then spend the remainder on the sirens themselves?
Well, I would tell you the sirens themselves are going to cost millions.
Really?
Yes.
They're-
The preliminary information
They're not
that.
just sirens.
So the study really is to determine from a cost-benefit perspective as to whether or not, because it is very expensive to install the sirens.
I see.
And to see whether or not there's some alternatives that we can look at besides the sirens. since it is so expensive, so.
Okay, yeah, maybe there's an alternative that uses like people's mobile phones or something. Okay, thank you. That's all I had to ask. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Young. No other communiques? Oh, Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules to allow for the organization RIPE that came in to make their citizen comment now, if that's okay, President.
Okay, we have a motion to suspend the rules to allow, which group is this?
It's the RIPE?
The RIPE youth group to make a public comment?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Second.
We had a second from Commissioner Epperson. Any comment on that?
No, sir.
Are we okay with this by acclamation?
Yes.
Okay, let's suspend the rules and allow RIPE to speak. Come on up. We're so pleased to have y'all. Thanks for coming to the commission meeting today. Please introduce yourself and tell us about your group.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Benny Walters. I'm the next era youth of RIPE. RIPE stands for Retooling Individuals to Pursue Excellence, promotes the well-being youth of their families with the primary focus on those impacted in socioeconomic risk and lack of affordable housing. We seek to restoring the self-esteem and dignity of life for individuals who face barriers to success through innovate STEAM programs, entrepreneurial development, job-driven training jobs. Seekers and community-driven aid RIPE is located at 2100 East 70th Street, Shreveport, Louisiana. The number for RIPE is 318-828-1098. The Louisiana Campaign for Tobacco-Free Living, TFL Community Advocacy Grant Program has awarded RIPE as the next era group for 2021 through 2022 fiscal year. The purpose of this grant is to train and engage Louisiana influence of the tobacco industry and inform policy. The campaign to complete an opinion survey before you leave. Thank you for having RIPE.
Well, thank you all for coming down and thanks for sharing your message. We appreciate it. See, do we have any questions for you, Mr. Commissioner Chavez? Is that you on the board?
I know
Jen?
this is
hey,
the...
fellas, come back up.
This outfit came down to the Southern Hills organization and did a presentation to the group. I was so pleased to see the youth publicly speaking out against vaping, tobacco use, and everything that has to deal with that I asked Mr. Everson if he would invite them to talk to the group. I'd like to see them in other districts. They have a really good presentation. I know they were only allocated 3 minutes, so they can't do their play today, but I would like to see the other districts allow them to put their play on. I think it's really good, and I think a lot of other teenagers need to see what they're putting out. And thank you guys for doing what you're doing. It means a lot to the kids. It really does.
Thanks for your leadership, guys. All right. Let's see.
Maybe a motion to go back into the regular.
Yes, could we have a motion to go back into regular session?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? All right, let's go back into regular session.
Okay, that puts us still under communiques for the moment, and I don't know if there might be.
Seeing, Commissioner Epperson, communique?
Mr. Clerk, would it be, I'd like to read the resolution relative to Miss Eileen Fields.
Yes,
and
sir.
the picture that they put on.
Yes, sir.
On her behalf of raising funds for the St. Jude Hospital.
So, yes, sir, I'm glad
I
to.
have a photo too. I'd like to ask if you can put it up.
While the assistant clerk pulls up that photo, I will just remind everyone, this is a resolution, this is a special resolution that this body adopted during your last regular session, and it was presented at an event after that meeting took place, and so didn't get a chance to be read into the record yet. So today, we would like to read it and share a photograph of Miss Fields. And Commissioner, would you like me to go ahead and start reading it, and we'll put the picture up
yes.
momentarily?
You have the picture, Michelle?
I have it.
Okay, I want the picture up while you was reading.
Okay.
Just wanted, some of you all may not be aware of Ms. Fields and the work that she had done throughout her lifetime and what she meant to the town of Greenwood, to the children, the seniors, the needy, people basically on the other side of the track that appears as though they was left out of everything. That was her nature. Oftentimes she and her husband, Brother Wilson Fields, did the majority of the stuff out of their pocket. Mr. Fields used to go out and cut, I think, almost, I believe it's about 8 acres of Little Greenwood Park. He was over 100 years old, and he'd get out and cut that so they can have things for the kids up there. And Ms. Fields would do a lot of cooking, do backpacks and school supplies for the kids, and always was feeding the senior citizens in the convalescent homes and the nursing homes within that area.
And Michelle, I just sent you another copy of that picture in case yours didn't come through. Got it? Right, there we go.
That's Ms. Fields there, a very, very proud lady. Always loved children. I think that was the year that she was the Grand Marshal of the annual Pioneers Parade in the town of Greenwood. And she was instrumental in getting the first Head Start center that was located in the town of Greenwood.
Right, and the resolution reads, a resolution of recognition and remembrance for Miss Eileen Durden Fields. Whereas the Caddo Parish Commission pauses with sadness and appreciation to reflect upon the passing of Mrs. Eileen Durden Fields, who's now at rest with her Heavenly Father. And whereas Mrs. Fields was made a tremendous impact on the lives of so many with her genuine love for the town of Greenwood, her strong faith in God, and passion for helping her fellow man, particularly children and the needy. And whereas faith in God was the source of Eileen's humble confidence and satisfaction in helping others, she honored her family and her God with service throughout her life. And whereas Mrs. Fields was a compassionate spirit with the strength and conviction of a warrior who was ever loyal and protective of her fellow man, she was a person that puts the needs of others above her own, making her the epitome of a community leader, of what a community leader should be. Whether directly or indirectly, citizens of Caddo Parish, and particularly those in Greenwood, Louisiana, have had their lives improved by Fields' efforts and will do well to emulate her service to God, family, community, and their fellow man. And whereas in recognition of her lasting impact, the town of Greenwood, Greenwood Support Agency, and Daddy D's Produce have joined forces to honor Mrs. Fields with an event that combines her love of Greenwood, children, and God by celebrating her memory with an Easter egg hunt at Greenwood Town Park, which is free to all children and features plate lunch sales to raise money for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. And now therefore be it resolved that the Caddo Parish Commission does hereby express its deepest sense of gratitude and celebrates the memory and impact of Miss Eileen Fields. Even as we grieve her loss, we celebrate the indelible impact that she had on our community and in the knowledge of the eternal reward that is hers. And that is signed by the Caddo Parish Commission.
Okay, thank you. And this is the inaugural year of this event, and the reason they chose the Easter egg hunt, that was one of the pivotal points in Miss Fields' life. They would sponsor an Easter egg hunt for the town of Greenwood, but the kids on the other side of the track, or may have been in the disproportionate area of the town, were not invited. So Ms. Fields took it upon herself, said she was going to do it, and she spent all monies involved, and she wanted every kid in the town of Greenwood to be invited. And from that point on, that's the way that transpired. Everyone was involved in that Easter egg hunt. For those of you that are still tallying the count and the contributions, no expenses deducted, everything will be contributed to St. Jude's Medical Center on behalf of and member Miss Eileen Fields. And if there's any one of you that would like to submit a contribution, or there are some viewers that's watching, make your checks payable to St. Jude's Children's Hospital and mail it to the town of Greenwood. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Epperson. Anybody else have any communiques? Stephen, you have a communique? Any communiques? No? All right. Go ahead, Mr. Clerk.
All right, and so that would, and do we have a president's report today?
Yeah, I think I will take advantage of my spot on the agenda today to share with you all the resolution of appreciation that I presented on behalf of you all, the commission, to Judge Cox this afternoon, or pardon me, Ted Cox this afternoon, judicial administrator for the parish. Mr. Clerk did a wonderful job preparing it. It's a little lengthy, but I won't read the whole thing, but I think it's important that we all recognize all the contributions that Ted Cox made to our community. So please work with me as I read this resolution that was read on behalf of all of us commissioners. Whereas the Caddo Parish Commission acknowledges that the passage of time brings forth regrettable inevitabilities, among those being the necessity of saying goodbye to cherished friends who have chosen to walk the paths and live the dreams of retirement. And whereas Ted Cox, the beloved and respected judicial administrator for Caddo Parish Juvenile Court, has now made that choice, ending a career of public service that has spanned 38 years, including 25 years as the judicial administrator for Caddo Parish Juvenile Court. Cox's legal service career has featured many highlights in addition to his service at Caddo Parish Juvenile Court. He served as an assistant district attorney for Orleans and Caddo parishes. He was a criminal defense attorney for the Caddo Indigent Defender's Office, a legal advisor to the Shreveport Police Department, and the administrator of the Caddo-Bossier Narcotics Task Force. Whereas Cox's accomplishments in the legal field, impressive as they may be, are a continued reflection of the selfless leadership and honorable character that he has displayed throughout his life's endeavors, including the military service, volunteerism, and his commitment to his family. He prepared himself for his life with an education that includes a bachelor's degree from LSU, a master's of criminal justice from the University of Southern Mississippi, and a Juris Doctorate from the Loyola Law School. And whereas Cox is a retired colonel with 37 years of service with the National Guard and Reserves, which includes serving in Vietnam War in positions ranging from infantry paratrooper to brigade commander of the 95th Training Division, and with many leadership roles in between. He would go on to serve during Operation Iraqi Freedom and as a senior policy advisor in juvenile justice for the provisional government in Baghdad, Iraq. His military career has been recognized with the Legion of Merit, Purple Heart, Bronze Star, and Combat Infantry Badge. The resolution goes on to recognize Ted Cox's contributions in volunteerism across many fields, as well as his love and support of his family. So it was with my honor representing you all to resolve that today, April 21st, would be recognized as Ted Cox Day in Caddo Parish. And it was my honor to present this resolution on behalf of all of you. So thank you for supporting that. Okay, Mr. Clerk, that's it.
All right, that brings us to the next item, which is a public hearing.
Sorry, we had a question.
Were you gonna mention, our visit with the Undersecretary of the Air Force?
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Okay. Commissioner John Atkins and myself were invited by Lieutenant General Anthony Cotton, Commander of the Air Force Global Strike Command, and his wife, Ms. Marcia Cotton, to a reception honoring the Undersecretary of the United States Air Force, Ms. Gina Ortiz Jones. We had a good visit with her. I think she was down here at the invitation of General Cotton to speak in reference to women's positions and the escalation of women in all forms of the military as well as civilian vocations. Of course, me, you know, I always tell everybody, you know, when I'm invited to a table, I just don't bring a thirst and an appetite. So I got contact information, and I sent the Undersecretary the 3 resolutions that we had adopted here by this body about the Postal Service, because of about 90% of the veterans' medications are sent through the Postal Service, about the stamp for Colonel DePeisler, and also about asking Congress to abate federal taxes on veterans' Social Security benefits. So we sent that off to her, so we engaged in hoping she can help lobby on behalf of that also. Thank you.
Thank you for that follow-up, Commissioner Epperson. We appreciate it. Okay, seeing no one else on the board.
That brings us to public hearing on zoning ordinances, which we have none scheduled today. And so we'll move forward to public hearing on ordinances. We do have a number of public hearings scheduled today. Would you like me to read them all at once, and then we can
Yes,
open?
please.
Okay, the first item is 12.1, a public hearing for ordinance number 6213 of 2022. That's an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Economic Development Fund for Juneteenth events and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. The next item is a public hearing for ordinance 6220 of 2022. That's an ordinance amending the budget, 6219. Oh, no. Sorry. So public hearing for ordinance number 6220 of 2022. That's an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the E. Edward Jones Housing Trust Fund for the year 2022 to appropriate funds received from the U.S. Treasury in the amount of $1,260,238 for the Emergency Rental Assistance Program and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. The next item is a public hearing for ordinance number 6221 of 2022, an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the American Rescue Plan Fund to provide an appropriation for a roof repair program and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. Following that is a public hearing for ordinance number 6222 of 2022, an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues for the American Rescue Plan Fund to provide an appropriation for the Ring Doorbell Pilot Program in Caddo Parish and otherwise provide with respect thereto. The next item is a public hearing for ordinance number 6223 of 2022. That's an ordinance amending the 2021 budget to amend the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for Section 8 Fund and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. Then the next item is a public hearing for ordinance number 6224 of 2022. That's an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund in the amount of $6,000 to provide an appropriation for the Greater Shreveport Chamber Foundation and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. And the final item in this section today is a public hearing for ordinance number 6225 of 2022. That's an ordinance amending and reenacting section 30-20 relative to nuisances to establish Property Standards Committee to consider property standards cases, including but not limited to dilapidated and dangerous buildings and structures, and otherwise pertaining thereto.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I'd like to open the floor for a public hearing to comment on any of the above referenced items. Seeing no one, the public hearing is closed. Continue on, Mr. Clerk.
Okay, that brings us, the next section is zoning ordinances for final passage. We do not have any scheduled today, so we'll move on to ordinances for final passage, where those items that you just heard under public hearing, as well as any items that may have already had a public hearing, will be contained. And that first item is ordinance number 6213 of 2022, an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Economic Development Fund for Juneteenth events and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. From Commissioner Jackson.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jackson to approve, a second by Commissioner Chavez, was it?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Jackson, anything to add here? Item 14-1.
Good. I'm on board.
Commissioner Epperson.
I'd like to make a motion to approve and adopt all of the ordinances based upon the public comments. I can get a second in Globo.
That's
Second.
okay. We had a motion by Commissioner Epperson to englobo all of the ordinances, englobo and adopt all the
Yes.
ordinances, with a second by Commissioner Jackson. Would you like to comment, Commissioner Epperson?
Didn't hear any public comments unless there are some discussion that any individuals may have.
Well, would you be willing to take a friendly amendment to modify your proposal to hold out item 14-5 for discussion?
Okay, with the exception of 14-5 for discussion.
Okay. Commissioner Hopkins.
Yeah, also 14. Six.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
If I may, I'd like to withdraw my motion. We just
Okay.
go down them
We just go
individually.
down 'em, okay.
We're sitting here all day.
Okay.
I think we'll say.
You withdraw your second, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go down them individual.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Epperson. All right, Mr. Clerk, let's take the first one.
And that motion again, for 6213 was a motion from Commissioner Jackson with a second by, who was the second, just for the record?
Commissioner Chavez.
Chavez? Okay.
Sorry, Mr. Clerk, we've got two people on the board I've just noticed. Are these old? Is there anyone on the board right now?
Mine's old.
Talferro, yours old? Okay, I'll clear that queue, or try to clear that queue. All right, we're ready to vote on 14-1.
Okay.
All right, everybody, let's vote on 14-1.
All right, and that motion passes with 8 in support and 4 absent, none in opposition. The next item is ordinance number 6216 of 2022. That's an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund in the amount of $6,500 to provide an appropriation for the wildlife education and rehabilitation.
Move
of
to
the-
adopt.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Young, a second by Commissioner Talferro. Commissioner Young, would you care to comment?
Yes, Mr. President. This was approved by one committee, the Animal Services Committee, which I chair, to pay for services that were provided under the color of helping our Animal Services Department, which refers people who find wildlife to this nonprofit, WERLA, that then rehabilitates them. There were some questions asked about whether they could start charging money for that instead of only accepting donations. And I don't think that, Mr. Clerk, is Dr. Morgan here? No.
I don't believe that
So
she
they're
is.
not here to speak for it. They did come to the Animal Services Committee meeting, and their total cost per animal was about $50. And this is work that they've done for the parish in the past, not directly for the parish, but they have been referred work that our Animal Services team is not allowed to do. We heard from another agency, the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, that they were a commendable program and very effective and seemed very cost effective. I know it's not something that we absolutely have to pay for because you can let wild animals die. That's the point that was made when we discussed, the circle of life and letting nature take its course. So I just want to let everybody know the facts, and you can vote for it or not as you choose. I'm going to vote for it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. I see Director Samuel Kelvin. I didn't know if they had an opinion on this or not. Just wanted to hear his voice on this.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
Now, I will start by saying that Dr. Gia Morgan helps us a lot. I think in 2019, when we had the raccoon distemper outbreak, she assisted in, euthanasia of the raccoons. She actually volunteered for our rabies clinic on the 9th. She relocates possums, raccoons, skunks. I mean, she does a lot. If we get duck calls, things that we can't handle, meaning falcons, she assists. So when I say she helps Caddo, she helps Caddo a lot.
Director Kelvin, thank you for that.
Yes.
I feel if she's willing to help us, and this is a small amount, that I'll be voting in support of this as well. Thank you,
Right.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no one else on the board, let's vote, please.
Commissioner Jackson?
Okay, I believe that motion fails. Doesn't, it needs 7 to be
That's
adopted,
correct.
and we've only got 6 in favor and 2 in opposition, and 4 absent. Okay. 6219 is the next item.
6220, is it not?
No, I'm sorry. You have there on the board. You
A little
have
lost. Where are we?
what's that?
A little lost.
14?
My agenda's
The
not.
typed
It must
agenda
have
has
been added from-
6219.
Okay.
Yeah. If your computer doesn't show it, refresh it. It's on there, but it did get left off of the one screen version. So if you don't see it, it's one that was postponed from a previous meeting to this meeting.
Okay.
And it is, you had already had a public hearing on it, so you didn't find it under your public hearing section. It's
So
only
where
under
we
this
at?
ordinance section.
What are we
I
on?
got you. I got you. I know, I usually don't go down that far. I got you.
Yeah. It just, it's easy to skip over it. That's why we didn't.
Mr. Clerk, hold on a second, everyone. Some of the drafts don't show 6219. If you refresh your screen, you might see 6219. This is item 14-3 on the, okay, you got it? Commissioner Epson, you might refresh and it should pop up.
You gotta go further down too.
No. This is an ordinance amending the budget of estimated and revenue expenditures for the Economic Development Fund to provide appropriation of $25,000 for the Shreveport-Bossier African American Chamber of Commerce.
You gotta scroll down
Commissioner-
past the public hearing too.
It's,
He'll come back to it.
yeah, it's easy to look over it here, because it's only in the ordinance section. It's not in the public
So
hearing.
disregard the paper, right?
It should be on the paper.
It's not, but that's all right. Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. I believe Commissioner Jackson, we were in a committee and didn't we make a motion to reduce this to 10,000?
Oh, that's what we had now?
We're on the we're on the African American
Okay.
Chamber appropriation.
Okay, move to appropriate $10,000 for the African American Chamber of Commerce. Move to approve $10,000.
Well, it says, just to be clear, Commissioner Jackson, the agenda says 25,000, so you want to change it from 25 to 10, correct? Okay.
In a point of clarification, Commissioner Jackson already did via committee, so it shouldn't have come back up here with the incorrect title. It should have been drafted with 10,000 on here for us to approve today.
That's
Did this
correct.
come from the committee or from Commissioner Gates?
It came from the committee.
It came from the committee, even regardless, but the author is incorrect on here as well. Attorney Frazier, how do we handle this?
What was that question again?
The ordinance has in the title 25,000. However, coming from committee, Commissioner Jackson had made the motion and we approved it, I believe unanimously, for 10,000.
Correct, and also there were some other, there's also subsequently been another item introduced that's related to this item. This was one that, again, remember you postponed it, but the recommendation is correct, it's not in line with the title. There has subsequently been made another item pertaining to this, so I don't know if, I don't know what you're
Well,
Make the-
Commissioner Jackson is here. He is recommending that we amend this from 25,000 to 10,000. If that's illegal by,
Just have to lay over again.
That's fine because you're going down and not increasing it.
Okay, so we have Commissioner Jackson's
Second.
Motion. We have Commissioner Chavez's second. Would you like to comment further, Commissioner Jackson?
No, I'm
All
good.
right, well, let's vote.
Okay, and that motion carries with 8 in support and none in opposition. And that brings you to ordinance number 6220 of 2022, an ordinance
Move to
amend-
approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Epson, a second by Commissioner Hopkins.
Jackson.
Oh, Jackson, I'm sorry. A motion by Commissioner Jackson, a second by Commissioner Hopkins to approve 6220.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to comment, Commissioner Jackson?
No, sir.
Okay. Commissioner Chavez, I think that's an old name on the board, is it not? I'm trying to clear.
Just for clarification, this was from the ARP funds, it's just a pass-through?
It's an American
Okay.
Rental Assistance Program for, from ARP.
Okay, thank you.
No, this is actually from Treasury, right?
Yeah,
Treasury.
Treasury, from the feds, how about that?
Okay.
Yeah. All right, any other questions? Seeing none, let's vote.
And that motion carries with 8 in support, none in opposition. And that brings us to ordinance number 6221 of 2022, an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the American Rescue Plan Fund to provide an appropriation for a roof repair program and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Motion to reduce by 40,000 and approve. So reduce it from 300,000 to 260,000 and approve.
Second.
We have a motion to reduce from 300 to 260,000 and approve. And that motion came from Commissioner Jackson, and a second was provided by Commissioner Young. Would you like to comment, Commissioner Jackson?
Yes, thanks, Mr. President. There are, as you all know, that there's also a ordinance that was introduced on Monday for 40,000 to be for the crime lab. So that's where this was coming out of.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Seeing no one else on the
So,
board,
I
let's
guess
vote.
y'all got what I want to make sure the clerk and maybe administration got what we're doing there. Is
Reduced $260,000 in advance.
right,
I
and
mean,
that 40 will come from basically.
That 40 will go to the crime lab, is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Did I say something different? Once. Oh, no, I have it. I have it at 260.
Okay, we all good? You good, Mr. Clerk?
I am.
All right, we're ready to vote.
And that motion carries with 8 in support, none in opposition. And then that brings us to ordinance number 6222, an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues for the American Rescue Plan Fund to provide an appropriation for the Ring Doorbell Pilot Program in Caddo Parish and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
I'd like to move to delay this item.
Second.
We have a second from who? Commissioner
I'm just
Commissioner
seconding
Jackson.
to
All right,
nobody.
we have a motion from
Open up for
Commissioner Young, a
discussion.
second from Commissioner Jackson. Your motion is to delay. Would you like to comment? Commissioner Young?
Yes, Mr. President. I just noticed that none of the sponsors of this are here, and we didn't discuss it last time, so I thought, in fairness, we could discuss it at a meeting when they're here. Thank you. That's all.
It's very collegial of you, and I'll go along with that. All right. Any other
Postpone
comments?
to the next regular session,
Yes.
Yeah,
the May 5th.
yeah. Any other comments? All right. Oh, we got someone on the board. Commissioner Jackson.
Yeah, no, I second the motion because I usually like to just open it up for conversation, but I think that there's been some discussion. I don't know if the discussion has been had with the authors, but I think that's the reason why Commissioner John Paul Young wants to delay, so that that discussion can be had with the authors of the ordinance. Is that what I'm saying? Okay. Okay.
All right, Commissioner. Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Hopkins.
Yeah, this is one of these ordinances we moved from work session in Globo, and we didn't really speak on it. And, you know, we have an ordinance we've done already for $100,000, which is supposed to be a pilot program. And I'd like to see the pilot program first before I see more money put into this. But I guess we can discuss that on the 5th. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hopkins. Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. I'd like to make a substitute motion that we delay this for 5 months until we gather the data of the pilot program.
I'll second. Who seconded that? Commissioner Lazarus seconded. We have a motion from Commissioner Chavez to delay for 5 months and a second by Commissioner Lazarus. Any other comments?
It's a pilot program. We have no data yet. We're only, we can even ask the administration, have we given out all the Ring cameras yet?
No, we have not. We're still working through the eligibility.
Thank you, Ms. Bryant. I think it's premature to allocate more funds for a program where we, A, don't even have the cameras installed, haven't received any data, and no feedback. So I think it would be prudent for us as a financial board doing the taxpayers' business to wait 5 months. I think that'll get us through the summer months when typically crime is higher. And if we do see a spike, we are the commissioners. We can come back to this board and reduce that 5 months to whatever time frame we need. But right now is a good time to do that so we can gather some data. Thank you, President.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Chavez. Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, I was actually gonna ask the administration if they had some numbers to share, but it sounds like from the previous question, y'all don't have any to share at this moment, or do y'all?
No, the only thing we have is the number of apps we've received, but we're still
Okay.
going through those apps, still verifying the documentation.
Okay.
Those types of things, so we don't have a lot of data yet to share.
Okay. And can I ask you, do y'all readily know how many apps to doorbells that have been purchased? So how many apps did we receive versus how many we have to give out right now, or that's still too early to And if it's okay if it's not, I understand it's early.
Because we're still working out what it would cost to
Okay.
install.
Okay.
It could be, there's some that are wanting to help us install, which then it may be no cost, but then if we have to pay for the installation, that's lower doorbells we can actually obtain.
Okay. And also, could we look at, or could y'all provide, I don't know if we actually saw the application or the requirements. I don't recall seeing it. But I guess my question is, like, the question I was asked was, like, if you live in an apartment complex, does it have to be owner occupied? Or somebody asked me something about what if you got evicted or something, or the person moved from the rental, the place where, if it's on a rent, some place where somebody rents. And I just wasn't in a position or posture to answer.
Right. So the doorbells are movable.
They're movable.
You can take
Okay.
them with you, so it doesn't have to be owner occupied. But
Okay.
in the case of an apartment, they would have to get authorization
From the
from the
landlord.
complex in order
Okay.
to be able to install those
Okay. Okay.
at the complex.
So maybe I just need to get with y'all to kind of get some of the, sounds like y'all had the programmatic details of it sketched out. And I may just need to get with y'all to get the programmatic aspect of it. Okay. Thank you. That's it.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Jackson. All right, I think we're ready to vote on the amended motion to delay this for 5 months.
Okay, and that motion carries with 7 in support, 1 in opposition, and 4 absent. The next item on your agenda is ordinance number 6223 of 2022. That is I'm sorry.
Blank.
That's
My
Section 8.
agenda has cut off the part of the words on that
I'll
one.
move to approve. That's the one for Section 8 budget.
No, 6223, I'm sorry, it's,
It is, yes, it is.
He's right.
sorry, my print copy is messed
Michelle,
up.
would
That
you-
is the one for the,
Michelle, would you read item
Room for Mayor program?
14-7 for us?
Ordinance number 6223 of 2022 is an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Section 8 fund.
Yeah. Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jackson, a second by Commissioner Hopkins. Commissioner Jackson, would you like to comment?
No, I think this is just formality, but we got some additional dollars in for Section 8, so.
Okay. All right, seeing no one else on the
And
board.
it's actually, I'd be remiss, it's actually called, isn't it called Housing Choice Vouchers? Isn't that the formal name of it, of the program now? Eric?
The program itself may be a housing choice voucher, but our fund is still
Called
called
Section 8.
Section 8.
Oh, do we need to do an ordinance to update that fund? I know HUD has gotten away from quote-unquote Section 8. Do we need to, or can y'all just make that internal change?
We can make the
Okay.
change if we need to.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. We are ready to vote.
all right, and that motion carries with 8 in support, none in opposition, and 4 absent. And that brings us to the next item, which is item number, ordinance number 6224, which is the ordinance for the Greater Shreveport Chamber Foundation.
Motion to postpone till next meeting?
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Jackson to postpone till next regular session. Is that right,
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes, yes.
And a second by Commissioner Chavez. Would you like to comment on why you'd like to postpone?
Yes, I think there was some more data or some information that I believe the parish attorney was supposed to be gathering for some membership. So, if, I'm good with the request to postpone, so I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. All right, seeing no one else on the board, let's vote. The motion is to postpone till next regular session.
All right, and that motion carries with 8 in support, none in opposition. And then the next item you have is ordinance number 6225. That's an ordinance amending and reenacting section 30-20 relative to nuisances to establish a property standards committee to consider property standards cases, including but not limited to dilapidated and dangerous buildings and structures and otherwise pertaining thereto.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hopkins, a second by Commissioner Chavez. would you like to comment, please?
Yeah,
Mr.
this is basically taking, instead of having to meet with a full quorum of 7, a committee as a whole, it will have a committee that the president will set up each year, the committee members of 5, and they will hear these cases just like our alcohol beverage. And then from there, we will bring a recommendation to the full body. But I think it makes it a little easier getting our quorums for the future.
It has been a problem with quorums on property standards.
That's all.
All right, Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Would this basically strike out, or does this just basically convert the existing committee?
I think that Property Standards Committee is a different committee. This will be Property Standards Hearing.
Hearing, okay.
Yeah.
But would it not be appropriate to just go ahead and strike that one out? Could we not do that?
And that's something we can discuss in the
Kinda get
future, I
redundant,
guess.
huh?
You certainly could, I mean, that would be more of a bylaw, you know, the next time maybe you update your bylaws because your committee structures are set in there, unless it looks like
Okay.
Attorney Frazier may have.
There would be a bylaws change, but the Property Standards Committee is to, under the bylaws, is to evaluate ordinance changes.
Gotcha,
This
okay.
committee is just to hear
Hear.
property standards cases.
Yeah.
Would-
So should you want to merge them? I mean, that's a possibility, but it
That's-
would require a bylaw change.
That's kind of what I'm asking, and maybe if administration take a look at that to see and give us some recommendation on, or even the clerk's office to, because now that's gonna make y'all have more meetings to track and
It
follow
could,
up.
it could end up being complicated.
Yeah.
I certainly understand your point, and that may be something that the Personnel Policies Procedures Committee wants to look at.
Yeah, just
So
don't
we'll
wanna-
certainly suggest it.
Don't want to duplicate their work or y'all's work, because I
Yeah.
don't think I'll ever end up on that committee. At least I hope not.
And Commissioner Hopkins, when would this committee stand up?
30 days after this ordinance,
Passes.
you know, it can be approved, and I think 30 days later, it will stand up.
Okay.
We don't have any cases at the moment.
Okay,
that
so
I'm
I
aware
can
of.
put Stephen on this committee.
Excuse me?
I'm empowered to
Yeah.
put Stephen on this committee.
Absolutely.
Just kidding.
I'll
Committee.
chair it.
All right. All right, we have a motion and a second, and I see no one else on the board. May we vote?
And that motion carries with 7 in support, 1 in opposition, and 4 absent. And that brings us to zoning ordinances for introduction by title, of which we have none today. So we'll move on to ordinances for introduction by title. These are items that were advanced in your Monday work session, and they include the introduction of ordinance number 6226 of 2022, an ordinance to authorize the administrator to execute a pipeline servitude and right-of-way agreement with Magnolia Midstream Gas Services LLC regarding a pipeline through and under parish property located in sections 31 and 32, Township 17 North, Range 15 West, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, and otherwise provide with respect thereto in District 12. And then the next item is the introduction of ordinance number 6227 of 2022, an ordinance to deem property surplus and authorize the sale of surplus property owned by the parish of Caddo, and otherwise provide with respect thereto. The next item is the introduction of ordinance number 6228 of 2022, an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues for the American Rescue Plan Fund to provide an appropriation for North Louisiana Crime Lab in Caddo Parish, and otherwise providing with respect thereto. And I believe that's the is that the final item?
Yep.
Under that section, yes.
Yes, it is.
And that brings us to work session minutes, where you should have the minutes from your April 18th work session attached.
Move to ratify.
We have a motion from
Second.
Commissioner Jackson and a second by Commissioner Lazarus. May we have a vote, please? This is to ratify the work session minutes.
And that motion carries with 7 in support, none in opposition, and 5 absent, I believe. Yes. And the next items, we do not have any resolutions scheduled for a vote today. We do not have any old business scheduled for a vote today. And so that brings us to new business, where the first item we have are reappointments to the North Shreveport Industrial Park Board. That is the reappointment of Ricky Hall and Herbert Rogers Jr. to the North Shreveport Industrial Park Board.
Move
It's
to
a
approve.
5-year term expiring in 2027.
Move to approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jackson,
Second.
second by Commissioner Epperson, to approve Mr. Ricky Hall and Mr. Herbert Rogers for the North Shreveport Industrial Park Board. All right, see no one on the board, let's vote, please. Okay,
And that motion carries with 8 in support and none in opposition and 4 absent. That brings us to the appointment of R.J. Johnson to the Caddo Parish Citizens
I'd like
Advisory
to
Committee on Juvenile
englobo and
Justice.
approve this 20.2, 20.3, 20.4, and 20.5, and 20.6.
Second.
we have a motion to englobo and approve items 20.2, 20.3, 20.4, 20.5, and 20.6. That motion came from Commissioner John Paul Young and is seconded by Commissioner Lazarus. Any comments, Commissioner?
No.
Commissioner Jackson, is that a new?
Yes. I'd like to just make an amendment to 20.5 to make the recommendation to the Audit and Finance Committee in 30 days or within 30 days.
20.6.
So if they get done within the, I'm sorry, go ahead. My bad.
That's for the item, for the parish to review the NGO application process?
Correct.
That's 20.4.
Yeah. So I don't know if I need a second or not for
All right, well, I think we've got a motion and a second to englobo and approve with all of these items with the amendment mentioned by Commissioner Jackson.
within 30 days. So if they get done before 30 days, they can.
All right, we okay?
That's it.
All right, seeing no one on the board,
And that motion carries with 7 in support, none in opposition, and 5 absent. And that brings us to communiques and committee reports.
anyone on the board? Commissioner Epperson.
Ms. Bryant, any status on the monitors?
Yes, sir. We're working with the city. It's our understanding that it may be a wiring issue, not a monitor issue. So replacing the monitors may not correct the problem. So we're working with the city to determine if the wiring is in fact an issue. And if it is, we would have to get that corrected. Because we can get new monitors, but if the wiring is an issue, the new monitors will not work.
I see that. How long that thing been out? About, it's
Sir?
been on 2 meetings, huh? 3 meetings. Wiring. Okay. Right through.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Epperson. Commissioner Jackson?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Ms. Bryant, I don't know if Cheryl is here, but I had someone who said they weren't able to submit their summer worker application. Is
If
that
you- if
closed?
You can provide us a name and we can look. at it.
Okay, all right. Said they were trying to submit it, but it didn't go through or whatever. But has that application period formally closed, or is it still open, or?
And it closed April 15th.
Okay. Okay, because, and I think I did speak to Cheryl on it. There were several folks who, particularly the younger individuals who, one, they thought they had to have a resume, and then I think one of the schools, they were utilizing the school to do the application, Booker T. Washington, and the storm or the high winds or whatever happened shut Booker T. Washington down one of those days, so they lost a day. Plus, they were in the middle of their statewide testing too, so they kind of ran up into a time issue. But I want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity who wants to participate. Do we know if all of the spots are filled, or have y'all even got to that point yet?
We haven't got to the point of filling the spots, but
Okay.
we did receive several applications.
Okay.
But I'll work with Ms.
Okay.
McGee to see what we can do.
Okay, all right. And I also want to just note, I attended an event on yesterday for the Southern University semester at Shreveport cohort. I don't know if y'all got that in your emails, but we were invited to participate in that. Those students about 8 to 9 of those students who selected to choose Shreveport, Caddo Parish, to do their semester in Shreveport. And they thought it was a great opportunity for them to come to Shreveport and get that experience. We had one here working with the parish attorney's office and got a chance to kind of just ask how were they, what were they thinking, and how did they feel about it. And a lot of them said that they're going to go back and encourage other participants to participate in the program, particularly as we continue to move toward the full-fledged law center, which is expected probably in the next year, 2 to 3 years after they go through all of the accreditation process. So accrediting takes a while. They have to go through SACS, they have to go through the ABA. But what I can tell you is that Southern is making a significant human capital investment. Last night I met the librarian, so they actually have a law librarian, and I think they have a law technician. Is that what it's called, Attorney Frazier? You the only person in the law school up here, or Commissioner John Paul. They have a technician or something, law technician or somebody who is not the law librarian there. So they have 2 people who are here full-time working, and I just think it was very good. The local bar association, or some local lawyers, I won't say bar association, Attorney Frazier, but the local lawyers stepped up and provided about $10,000. Each student walked away with about $1,000. And shout out to Judge Jeff Cox. He added another $500. So they'll be leaving Shreveport with $1,500 in their pockets, just as a, good luck, because they're entering that period where they'll be taking the bar and they'll be without work and things like that. So a lot of them expressed thanks and appreciation to the commission for being a partner in that endeavor, and the chancellor also sent his thanks and appreciation. So that process is still moving forward. I want to say there's a ribbon cutting coming up in July that we'll all be invited to participate in. So things are moving, things are progressing with the law center, law school, whatever we want to call it. But it's a process, and looking forward to seeing that process to its end. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. Just wanted to invite my fellow colleagues and everybody else out there. This Saturday, it's Movies in the Park at Southern Hills Park. It's starting at 5, ends at 10 p.m. We're going to have food trucks out there. It's going to be a lot of fun, so bring your blankets, bring your kids. It's going to be a great time. Thank you, Commissioners, for the Robert J. Wright proclamation. I welcome any of you guys to join tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. We're going to present it to him on the airwaves, where he's lived his life for the last 40 years. So I think it'll be fitting to hand it to him there as opposed to here. And I don't see Tim out there, but not the other Tim. You don't have to come up here, Tim. They're working on the railroad today, so thanks for checking on that for me. I know some delays put it through, but the crew's out there today. So Burt Coon's right in front of Southern Hills, Willis, Knighton, South will be nice, and it won't be a speed ramp anymore. So thank you, President.
Thank you, Commissioner Chavez. Commissioner Hopkins.
Yes, Mr. Frazier, would you look at Senate Bill 314 and take a look at that? That's a bill that is creating off-track betting in the state, and it will allow some different things in different parishes. But historically, when you take monies away from our video poker, that concerns me. The way the bill looks right now, it looks like there's no money coming to local government from that. And if we diminish our economic development money, our money that goes to the DA, that could make an impact on the commission. So if you just kind of watch that, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hopkins. Commissioner Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to let everyone know that we are tentatively scheduling a policy and procedures committee meeting for Tuesday at 11:30 a.m. to talk about the property standards committees and merging them into one. Thank you. That's all.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Young. That comes to me. I just want to let my colleagues know that I'm going to be in and out of town next week. So if you need to reach me, try me on my cell phone. That'll be the easiest way to reach me. And Miss Bryan, if y'all need me, try me on my cell phone. All right. Seeing no one else on the board,
We've not received any
Move to
requests
adjourn.
for late comments.
pardon? Any
We've not
citizens?
received any requests for late
Second on the
All
adjournment.
right. We have no late comments and a motion to adjourn, so we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.